Today's shir is dedicated to Chassan Dinan, Chaim Yitzchak Elchanan Travis, who'll be getting married B'Shah Tov Mitzlachas on Tu B'Av at Ulam Beis Yisrael, which is in Ezra's Torah, right next to Goldie's restaurant, right before Shkia on Tu B'Av, Bezrat Hashem B'Shah Tov Mitzlachas. I believe it's very common for people to look at a successful marriage as a partnership. Two partners. When you have a partnership in a business, seemingly that's a very, very good thing. A successful partnership. Each one is 50-50. Each one is doing his share of the business. And at first glance, we would look at marriage, we would think the business model is a wonderful way to run a marriage. Let's run our marriage like a business. 50-50 partners, and everything will be incredibly successful. I believe many people look at marriage like this. But I also believe that this is a very, very grave mistake that people are making. And my basis for this belief is based on a few major Torah sources. And we'll start from the beginning. Let's start from the Gemara in Kedusha, Daf Beis Amud Beis. The Gemara says, why? The Mishnah says that Isha niknes b'shlosh dokan. A woman's acquired in three ways. And the Gemara asks on Amud Beis, so why does it say Isha niknes and not Aish Kleina? So the Gemara says a mashal, an analogy of somebody who lost an object. I currently can't find my keys, and it's really annoying. There's a place I have to get into, and there's a mikvah pass on it. It's really quite perturbing to me. So I'm looking for it, right? Who looks for the lost item? The person who lost it looks for the lost item. And therefore the man looks after the woman. Why? Because a woman is like an aveda of the man. The woman, Isha, was taken from the ribs of the man and built, right? The other was put under general anesthesia, terdema, whatever that means exactly, very deep ideas in Kabbalah. And she was separated from him. Therefore, the man looks for the woman. She is part of him, and he's looking for her. So we see a very critical and important concept here in marriage. Marriage is not a partnership. Marriage is one body. Yeah? One body and one entity. When I have my right arm and my left arm, I don't say this is a partnership. The right side of the body and the left side of the body. It's one body. It's not a partnership. And the difference is, in a partnership, there's two opinions. And hopefully, if they're good partners, they agree most of the time. They might not agree all the time. But that's the nature of a partnership. The nature of marriage, the Gemara is going to teach us, is very different. Yeah? It's not a partnership. It's really one body, right? It's one body. And therefore, right, it's not two opinions, it's one opinion. Now, you might be asking right now, well, that's very difficult when you have two people to have one opinion. I was just in a taxi yesterday with my wife, and the taxi driver mentioned when you have two Jews, you have three opinions, right? So now you're telling me you should have a husband and wife, you should have one opinion? This is definitely exasperated by the fact that the Tosfos Rid says at Shabbos. I believe it's Samach Beis Amud Beis. Yeah? Or it might be Samach Daled. I have to check again. Nashim am b'fnei atzmahem. Yeah? So the Tosfos Rid says women and men are completely different in all ways. They don't think even in one way the same way. Nothing. They have nothing in common. So that makes it even more difficult. How are we going to get that two people have only one opinion and that they're one body? Right? And the answer, I believe, is what the Vilna Gaon says. Yeah, the Vilna Gaon says, Mishlei, Vilna Gaon writes that we know, Chazal tell us, that originally HaKadosh Baruch Hu planned to create man as one, who was Olam Machshavo, create man as one, and in the end he created men and women as two. And the Gaon says like this, for sure, it's better off in the practical manifestation the creation of man and wife, to have two people. Because what? The man has to do his thing, and the woman has to do his thing. Whatever it is, the man's going to kolo, going to work, going to whatever he's doing. The woman's doing whatever she's doing, running the house, going to work, teaching in school, being a principal, being the CEO of a company. Whatever she's doing, man and woman to be one body would be extremely not practical. So therefore, practically speaking, God created man and woman as two. Yeah. But in essence, they're really meant to be one. And that's why it was Olam Machshava. 60 ago. Plus, Mishalom to think that God changes his mind. God doesn't change his mind, doesn't make mistakes. Yeah? Doesn't make mistakes. This is how I explain the bracha of Asana Kirtzone. Right? When man created woman, he created like his Ratzon. That was really his Ratzon to create them as two. Right? He created them as one originally, but he also had intention to create them as two. And that's why women say the bracha of Sha'asani Kirtzona, who made me like his will. In any event, says the bracha. So what does it mean that God thought to create man as one? He says, because in essence, a husband and wife are one. They're one. Right? In essence, they're one. Like we see from the Gemara, that the woman is the rib of the man, and the man is coming to find his Hashavas Aveda. It's coming to get his Aveda back. So when a man and woman get married, they go back to being one. It's Hashavas Aveda. Right? And says the Gra, why? I believe it's in Paragiyot Pasuk Tes. Well, maybe in Parag Tes Pasuk Yud. I believe in Paragiyot Pasuk Tes. The reason is because man and woman are meant to be one, because that'd be more. And this is why originally man was created one. Because one body, right? Who does a person love the most? Himself. The proof of that is he gives himself 3 meals a day. He goes to sleep every day, takes care of himself. A person is very, very concerned about their own needs. And the wife has to become like him. And therefore, they're one entity. It's not a partnership. I don't know if there's a term for it in business. It's a conglomeration. I don't know what you're going to call it, but it's not a partnership. It's not 2 equal partners. Marriage is not making it 2 equal partners. It's one, right? It's one. I believe there's a book I just purchased 2 weeks ago. I know I purchased it. It's called Two Become One from Rabbi Abramov and his wife Tila Abramov. And it's called Two Become One because it's not a partnership. A partnership is when 2 people. Marriage is a synthesis. Yeah, it's 2 people become one. It's the bone. It's the rib going back to the body. And this is really the essence of marriage, right? The essence of marriage. When Rabbi Ari Levine came to the doctor with his wife, his wife. So he told the doctor, our leg hurts. And that was the truth. Because they were one body and one mind and one soul. And this is the essence of marriage. And don't think that it's easy. It's very, very complicated. It takes many, many, many years and a lot of effort to get there. It doesn't happen like this overnight. It's not like you're going to the and you're one already, right? It's a lot of work. And the work is that the man has to drop his understanding of things, to learn to see something from a totally new perspective of his wife. And the wife has to drop her understanding of things and become a totally new perspective of the husband. And together they fuse into one, and that is a truly successful marriage. And that's why the Gemara compares this to getting your rib back, right? Getting married is like getting a person's rib back. And this is really the essence of marriage, and this is really striving. And it takes a lot of work, and a lot of siyata shmaya, and a lot of feelings. There's an extra work on this, which I have right here. This is the Kuntras Chasanim of Rav Shlomo Boba, which I bought from him. Tashan and Gimel. That was 30 years ago. Right? Out again. 30. That's coming out again. Baruch Hashem. It's printed again. Baruch Hashem. It's worthwhile to get hold of it. And there are other good books on marriage. There's some books on marriage which are not so good. Yeah. Each person has to consult with Rav, who he consults with, to know which books are good, which books are not good. There is a book here called Pirkei Hanagas Abayis, which was written by Rav Tzvi Travis, who many people think I'm related to him, and it was originally banned. Each person has to ask their Rav if they're allowed to learn a Sefer, which was originally banned. That's a different shir. I'm not going to talk about that now. But in any event, whatever a person does, you have to know it's a lot of work, and you need a lot of siyata d'shmai, a lot of tefillah, a lot of work. But the most important thing in marriage is haknah, right? Haknah. If a person thinks, right, like the Rambam says, right, that a man is the king and the wife is the queen. So a man gets married, thinks, I'm going to be a king. He's not going to be a king, right? The Gemara says in Brachos that when a king davens, he bends down and he's like that the entire tefillah. The essence of a king is achnah. For this reason, he carries a Sefer Torah with him at all times, because he's constantly meant to humble himself to Hashem. If a man makes himself a Jewish king, which is completely humbled to Hashem and also to a certain extent to the people, right? A man who's machni himself completely to the Borei Olam, and he's machni himself to his wife and all in Yani de Alma, as the Gemara in Bava Metzia says, yeah, right? He says, if your wife is short, bend down to listen to what he's saying. The Gemara asks, well, it says that you're supposed to listen to the man and not to the woman. The Gemara says, in Mili de Alma, listen to the woman. And in Mili de Shmaya, listen to the man. What's Mili de Alma? What's Mili Shmaya? That's also not a simple question. A lot of difficult questions here. But the point is that marriage is about achna. Marriage is about respecting your spouse. Yeah? To the point where both sides respect themselves so much that they're like one entity. The husband knows what the wife wants, the wife knows what the man wants, right? And this is what Chazal mean. It's a big mistake that Moni Chasana make. It's a loch in Shulchan Aruch, right, in Even Ezer, right? It says, Ezi Isha Kshera, Uisa Rotzen Baila. An Isha Kshera is someone who does Rotzen Baila, right? And it doesn't say that she asks her husband what she wants. She just does it, right? And why is that? Because it's so clear to her what her husband wants. She doesn't even have to ask him. Yeah, she just does Ratzon Baila. That's an Isha Kshera. She does Ratzon Baila. She knows what he wants so clearly she doesn't have to ask him. And the same is obviously true, of course, about the husband. Right? The husband knows exactly what the wife wants. Yeah, right. If he has any questions, he should certainly ask her. Right, in a very sensitive and delicate way. Obviously, sometimes he has to be very careful. But that is the essence of a successful marriage. Eliminating the two. Don't look at marriage as a partnership. Yeah? Because a partnership is very, very dangerous. Yeah? Because sometimes in a partnership, one partnership, as my friends, I won't say his name, but he was in a partnership with three people, and two of them decided, that's it. We're taking a vote and you're out. Right? Okay, in a two partnership, that's not so easy because it's 50-50. But still, partnerships are dangerous. Jewish marriage is not a partnership. It's a synthesis. It's two becoming one. It's a fusing. It's a transformation. Yeah? It's a metamorphosis. We could use a lot of fancy words. In any event, I hope I've made myself clear. And my bracha for Chassan Dinan, Chaim Yitzhak Travis, who's sitting next to me, is that she have a successful wedding. Yes, here, Mazel Tov Chaim Yitzhak. We're all looking forward to your wedding on Tu B'Av, Ulam Beis Yisrael. Yeah, which I believe is in Rehov Ezra's Torah number 17, if I'm not wrong. All looking forward to your marriage, and of course, anybody who's listening to this year, if you happen to be in Eretz Israel at the time, we would love to see you at the wedding, right? Because, I sit here at the Koso usually at 4 in the morning. Right now, I got here late today, so we're after Nate's, yeah? But I have no idea who's listening to this year, It could be people, sometimes people tell me, I meet them in the street, I've been listening to Shir for years and years. And you have Talmidim and Talmidot, you don't even know who they are. So certainly, whoever wants to come to the wedding and say Mazel Tov, it would be our greatest pleasure to meet you. and especially it's Tubav, it's vacation time, and I believe that's August 2nd. Yeah, August 2nd. Yeah, um, about 7 o'clock, right? On the um, English invitation, I think it says 6:30. On the Israeli one, it says 7 o'clock. You can figure that out. What time it's going to be. But the point is what? Finish. Oh. Yeah, yeah, okay, right. Yeah. In any event, it doesn't really matter. It V'ito V'zmano, Zrat Hashem, everyone should have Atzlacha, Bracha, and Siyata Shmaya in their own marriages, the marriages of their children, and we should, every single marriage should be a binyan Beis Hamikdash, right? It says, Kabona Achad Merchavanos Yerushalayim. Because when a person fuses into one with a spouse, then the Shekhinah is Sheireh, and this is the greatest Nachas Ruach to the Borei. Hashem should give us the Siyata D'Shmaya to do this, to have success, remain, gain, tear.